everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Chris Yee.
Today we're taking a look at the latest from Impatience Games. This is Urbion, or if you look at it like this, it says Urbion instead.
It's amazing that they can do that.
The technology that they have available to them these days. And if you do it like this, it says Urbion. And if you do it like this, it's just yellow on the inside and doesn't say anything.
One day, they'll find a cure for this. With your contributions, for 35 cents a day.
You too can write Urbion on the inside of this box. So this one is, like I said, the latest from the publisher and the latest in the Oniverse series of games. A line of games for 1 or 2 players, cooperative, in which you are going to generally be manipulating cards or dice, trying to achieve some goal before you run out of time, run out of cards, what have you. This one, you are balancing these cities with sort of good dreams and bad dreams. You need both. And if you balance them, then you clear those cards. You're trying to clear a certain number before you run out of the deck of cards. That's the idea. This is a reprint also of a game that came out some time ago. Same title, much smaller box. And I'm also putting out a video comparing these two things, okay? This Urbion 2nd edition with the original printing. So if you really want to know everything that comes in here, which we're not going to necessarily dive into here, check out that video. That'll show you the original printing and everything that comes in here, all the little, add-ons, the little expansions. But that's enough waffling. Let's jump into it. Let me show you how it works. The objective of this game is to claim all 12 city cards, which are these cards right here in this column in the middle. Here are the rest of them. And I'm trying to do that by balancing the 2 types of dreams, sort of the good dreams and the bad dreams, if you would, around each of these cities. So on your turn, you are going to be playing a card or discarding a card and triggering an effect, and then drawing back up from the deck. You have to get all 12 balanced and basically completed before you run out of the deck of cards here. If that happens first, before you have all 12, then you are going to lose. If you get all 12, then you win. In this overview, I'm going to be focusing on the single-player mode, but it's largely the same for 2 players, except that they have these polarity cards, and this is going to affect where they may play it, on this side or on this side, and these could be swapped between the players so that they can play wherever they need to, each of them having a hand of cards, all right? But we're going to be going at it, a single player so that you understand what's going on. So again, on my turn here, one of my options is to play a card. My hand right now is composed of these 4 cards. Some are the positive cards, some are the negative, and they have a symbol as well, which you'll see on the city cards. They all have 2 symbols. I can only play a card next to a city that has the symbol that I want to play there, and that side doesn't already have the maximum of 3 cards. So right now, that's fine. One thing I could do, for example, is I could play this card with that symbol right here, because that symbol's on the city and there are not yet 3 cards there, right? I could also play this card up at the top right here. And I'm going to choose to do that. Once I've done that, then I'm going to draw a card. Draw a card, I check if it is one of the chaos cards. It wasn't, and so I put it in my hand. I'll explain the chaos card in just a moment. Now, the other thing I can do is, instead of playing, I could discard a card. If I choose to discard a card, I'm going to select one from my hand, I'll discard that, and then I can do one of 2 things. I can do either a swap or a census. So a swap means I take 2 cards from the same side of the cities, and I swap those 2 cards. I could say take this card and swap them. Put that one here and put this one up there so that I can try to balance the values on the 2 sides. The other thing is the census, which means if I have the same amount on one side of the city as I do on another one, then I clear that city. And in fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Let's say I discard this card to the discard pile, and I do a census. Starting from the top, this side is -3, this side is +3. I can clear that city. So I'm going to put that in my winning pile, if you would. This one's dealt with, I've done it. This next one here does not have equal numbers, so I don't do that. This one doesn't. This one does, 6 and 6, so I also clear that one. these cards are going to go away, and I'm going to put out new cities. So I put one there, and then I top deck the next 2 cards, and I put them where they go. And then this city, where again I flip, and I put these cards where they go. Hey, look at that. I got lucky on that one. So that's how that works, and then I need to draw back up. I'm good. Now, it's also possible that you can, without clearing the 2 sides, that there are some amounts you can clear because they match, okay? And here's what I mean by that. Let's say it looks like this, and I trigger a census. I could, if I want to, get rid of the 3 here and get rid of the 1 and the 2 to try to bring down the values so that I can hopefully, make some room on this side and then try to balance them later. Even though that city was not finished by me doing that, I am allowed to take that action to clear some cards away. Now, it is possible while I am replenishing my hand in the second half of my turn, discard or play and then replenish, that I draw a chaos card. And the chaos cards look like this. They have a positive 5 on one end and a negative 5 on the other. And when I draw one of those, I must immediately decide how to contend with this card. It's going to impede my progress. So there's 3 things I can do with it, okay? I can add it to the board on a legal side. This can be on any symbol, but it has to go on the side that's already stronger. So I could not put it here, for example. That's the weaker side of the city. I would have to put it there and create a bigger imbalance, if you would. I could also add it up here, because there is room for a 3rd card. I cannot, however, if the city looks like this, add it to that side because it can only have 3 cards at most per side, okay? So I could do that. Second option, I could discard this card and then clear a balanced city of all of its cards. And so by that, I would discard this card, not add it to the city, but I lose this one being balanced without clearing the city and scoring it, right? So I could do that. Third and final option is I could discard this and then discard the next 4 cards. And if I hit any more chaos cards, I have to deal with them too. So I would just lose these things. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then that way, perhaps I'm happy with the way the cities are beginning to take shape. I don't want to mess with that. I do this instead and risk whatever might be coming up. Okay? So those are the 3 things you can do. This continues. Once I've dealt with one of these chaos cards, I still need to replenish my hand, so I would draw again. And then once I'm up to 4 cards, it's the top of my round once again. I can play or discard and manipulate this layout. One final rule, if you are able to balance all 4 of these at the same time, clear them all at the same time into your score pile, you get 1 bonus city from the top of this stack here. And you get to put that in your score pile plus the 4 you cleared up. And that's basically the game. Once you clear all 12 before you run out of cards here, you win the entire thing. So this is one I was a little bit nervous about because the original one, I came out after the original Onirim, and I loved that game. I still do. It was a tremendous sort of hit for me. One of my favorite card games, one of my favorite solitaire games, and then this one was a follow-up, and I didn't find it to be as captivating. So I was a little concerned about the return to Urbion, as it were, and what they were going to do with that. Obviously, the game is the same, okay? The core mechanism is still there. And coming back to it, I thought it was an appropriately clever idea for a small card game. I think perhaps in my head, with the passive, with being so sort of surprised and shocked by Onirim, I expected the second one to sort of be something, impossible to achieve. It's a small card game with cards with values.
Sure.
That's okay, you know what I mean? But I still will say that I find this one to be, even among all of them, more mathy than it is dreamy.
Yeah, that's fair, right? Because this whole line of games has that I know people have their opinions on the artwork.
Yes.
Right? And that's the same thing you'll say about every single game in this line. I like it because it invokes that idea of very dreamy, kind of surrealist.
Yes.
And so, yeah, this one's a game about balancing left and right side cards. I happen to like that puzzle, but it feels more blatantly puzzly than, as you said, kind of evoking images of dreams and nightmares and such.
Right. Well, the thing is, right, there's the one about sequencing your dreams. That's the original. There's the one about a ship filled with characters traversing to this tower in the distance. There's the one about building sky machines. And they all have mechanisms that are going to be abstracted, of course. But they all manage to make me feel that little bit of this is a strange world I'm inhabiting. This is a weird, surreal, dreamlike state this is taking me into. This one doesn't manage to do that as well. I see the +2 and the -4 and that robs it a little bit of the bizarre world in which you inhabit. And to be fair, I think a couple of the new expansions in here add some of that back in. They give you some of those weird, there's these creatures that you gotta worry about where they are and how to balance them and how to satisfy their necessities. That helps a little bit. The whole thing is mathy and blatantly so. You know what I mean?
Right. And I do like, though, that each of the city cards in the middle that you're playing to have the two different symbols, and while it's not as, it feels very much like match the symbols and stuff. But I like that there's enough restriction there, and having 4 of them out is kind of about the right number of cards to have so that you look in your hand of cards, you go, okay, well, this one's unimportant now. Do I hold on to it because it's a big number? It'll offset those really strong, the chaos cards. It gives you enough to crunch off of. But I'm speaking of all of this very, quite mechanically. I don't sit there and think the bowl symbol means much different than like the flame symbol.
Right. Now, a couple of things I do want to mention here that are big positives. The artwork, the new reworked artwork is really nice. I did not realize how nice until I saw images again of the previous edition. I haven't looked at it in a while. I own one, but I haven't played it in a while. And the new artwork is superb. It's more clean. It's more dynamic. There's more to it. There's a little more personality. So kudos there. Lovely to see this one specific part of this strange world revisited and reworked a little bit. I like that. I also like the gameplay loop of this game. It's very easy.
Yes.
And it reminds me of Onirim in many ways. This idea of you have a hand of 4 in this one. You play or discard. Play, you play. Discard, you do one of 2 things. And then you draw and see if you get hit with one of those chaos cards. You didn't? Cool. Put it in your hand. Go again. You did? Well, now you got to deal with that. And it's one of, again, 3 things in this case. So I like that. It's very clean to play. It's very simple, very straightforward. I think I'm glad to see this coming back. I'm glad to see it have more content and more expansions in here. I think the expansions, we're gonna rank them or anything, but I would put them in sort of 2 buckets. The ones that add more personality, I like those. They give me a little more theme, a little more sort of weirdness, and I love that. The first few in the book, the main thing they add is twists and restrictions on what's already there. Hey, this city card has all 4 symbols. That's easy. You can play there. But then these other sucky cards are in your deck. Okay. These city cards have no symbols. You can't play there at all. You need to cheat cards into play. But then you have these great, powerful things that you can shuffle into your deck. So it's these 2 sliding spectrums, and they just sort of tweak both.
Harder one way, easier another way.
Yeah, and then you shuffle that in if you want to. Those didn't captivate me. They just play with the math a little bit, and you shuffle in and go again, the other ones, the later ones in the book, I did find them to be more interesting and captivating. So yeah, that's what we think. Let's go ahead and jump into some final thoughts here. This is a long and storied series of games by now.
Yeah, it's interesting. This is, and so I'm coming to this one brand new. Not played the first edition. I've played many of the games in this line, and I would say that this one reminds me the most of Onirim in just kind of that turn structure, in just how very simple it is, and not to say that any of the games get too wild, The one from last year.
The one from last year was pretty kooky.
And a pretty robust game.
Yeah, it had like engine building in it and sort of tracks, evolving play. Yeah, it did.
This one is... It really does feel like an older one revisit. I like the simple, clean card play. It's not wildly evocative, as we said, right? But I do like that. And I also appreciate that every card you discard has the option to do the two actions. Swap or to score cards right then and there.
Right.
Whereas in the original Nyrim, only the key cards in the basic play had any real special effect to them when you discard them.
Right.
So I like that. It gives you a little more control with, I'm going to chuck this one. Why? To do the good swap, which is going to set me up perfectly.
Right.
So I'm coming in at 7.5 for this one. I like the puzzle. I like the play. I do like the artwork, and it's nice to know, too, that this is kind of beefed up compared to the original.
Yeah, well, there's new expansions which have new artwork, but even this basic artwork has been redone, cleaned up. It's beautiful. I give it the same score, actually. I'm also coming down at a 7.5. This is solidly, for me, in the middle of the pack, and that's a good pack to be in, right? These Oniverse games range, for me personally, all the way up from like a 9 or a 10, like some of the best ones I rate very highly, to maybe like a 6, right? So this one's solidly in there. It's a good one. It just does have that math, which is hard to look past sometimes, but it benefits from being very clean, just a deck of cards you shuffle and start playing, and then a couple of those expansions that are brand new to this edition, I think are lovely new additions that add some theme back in, and I appreciate that. It's also probably the one that uses, they all include this little plastic thing in it, like a token, like a pawn, right?
Yeah, a little character like you see on the cover.
This is one of the ones that uses it in a very fun, clever way. I like having a physical pawn for what it does in here, so I'm happy for that. Anyway, that's going to be it for Urbion's second edition here. 7.5 from both of us. That is a seal of approval. And there you go. Hopefully this is one you can check out and try for yourself. Thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in and checking this out with us. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Chris Yee.
Watch out for spooky dreams and their friends, the good ones.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.